Assalamu alaikum, this is Maria Zulfikar welcoming you to the English news from Btv Chattogram. Let's begin with the top stories. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman calls for building nutritionally rich, self-reliant and prosperous Bangladesh. Government wants to establish Bangladesh as welfare state, says Premier Tariq Rahman. Modern information complexes being built in every division, informs Information and Broadcasting Minister. Renovation work of historic Zia Memorial Museum in Chattogram to begin within next 1.5 months, says State Minister for Cultural Affairs. At least 11, including women and children, killed in series of Israeli airstrikes in Lebanon. Viewers, those were the top stories. Now moving on to the details. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman inaugurated the National Fisheries Week 2026. He inaugurated the National Fisheries Week at the Achmita George Institution in Kishoreganj today. The Prime Minister called for building a nutritionally rich, self-reliant and prosperous Bangladesh. He said that abundant Howr's water bodies and ponds in the country would be renovated, fish fry would be released and this would be distributed among local youth. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman called upon entrepreneurs and businessmen to find out markets for new products abroad. He said that the government would provide grants ranging from 5 lakh taka to 5 crore taka to new entrepreneurs with the aim of creating technology-based employment and building a knowledge-based economy.
সমগ্র বাংলাদেশে অনেক জলাশয় আছে, হাওর আছে, বিল আছে, পুকুর আছে, যেগুলি পড়ে রয়েছে বিনা কারণে। আমরা সিদ্ধান্ত করেছি এগুলোকে সংস্কার করার মাধ্যমে সরকারের পক্ষ থেকে আমরা এগুলোতে মাছের পোনা ছাড়তে চাই এবং সেই এলাকার তরুণ যারা আছেন তাদের মধ্যে সুন্দরভাবে আমরা এটা বন্টন করতে চাই যাতে করে কর্মসংস্থানের ব্যবস্থা হয় তাদের। মৎস্য সেক্টরের বিকাশ এবং মৎস্য চাষী এবং জেলেদের জীবন জীবিকার উন্নয়নে সরকার অত্যন্তভাবে আন্তরিক এবং এরই অংশ হিসাবে মৎস্য চাষীদেরকে কৃষক কার্ডের আওতায় আনা হবে এবং হয়েছে এর মধ্যে। একই সঙ্গে জেলেদের পরিচয়পত্র প্রদান ও নিবন্ধন কার্যক্রমও চলমান রয়েছে। আপনারা জেনে খুশি হবেন বাংলাদেশের ইতিহাসে প্রথমবারের মতন গত জুন মাসে নাইজেরিয়াতে হ্যাচিং ডিম রফতানি করা হয়েছে। এভাবে বিদেশে নিত্য নতুন পণ্যের বাজার খুঁজে বের করার জন্য আমি উদ্যোক্তা বা ব্যবসায়ীদের প্রতি আন্তরিক আহ্বান জানাই। প্রযুক্তি নির্ভর কর্মসংস্থান সৃষ্টি এবং গবেষণা উদ্ভাবনকে উৎসাহিত করে জ্ঞানভিত্তিক অর্থনীতি গড়ে তুলতে বর্তমান সরকার 500 কোটি টাকার স্টার্টআপ ফান্ড গঠন করেছে। এই ফান্ড থেকে সম্ভাবনাময় স্টার্টআপের জন্য অর্থাৎ শিল্প উদ্যোক্তা বা শিল্প শুরু করার জন্য সরকার 5 লক্ষ থেকে 5 কোটি টাকা পর্যন্ত গ্রান্ট দেবে, ঋণ নয় গ্রান্ট দেবে। সুতরাং এই সুযোগ গ্রহণ করে এগিয়ে আসার জন্য আমি নতুন উদ্যোক্তা যারা আছেন তাদেরকে বিশেষভাবে আহ্বান জানাতে চাই।
Fisheries and Livestock Minister Muhammad Aminur Rashid, State Minister Sultan Salahuddin Tuku, State Minister for Textiles and Jute Muhammad Shariful Alam, Member of Parliament Advocate Muhammad Jalaluddin, and Fisheries and Livestock Secretary Muhammad Dilwar Hussain addressed the occasion. Earlier, Prime Minister Tariq Rahman distributed the National Fisheries Award 2026 to 14 individuals and organizations for their significant contributions to fisheries production. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman said his government wants to establish Bangladesh as a welfare state by implementing people-oriented programs. He said this while addressing a public gathering in Pakundia after releasing fish fry into the Brahmaputra River at Mirzapur Chairman Bari Ghat area in Kishoreganj today. The Prime Minister urged people to remain alert against those attempting to hinder the government's development activities and create disorder on the streets, saying ordinary people suffer the most from such activities. He called upon people to take a collective pledge to resist anyone working against the country's interests or obstructing programs taken for the welfare of the people, noting that it is time to work and take the country forward. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman stressed on working together to rebuild the country.
আমাদের লক্ষ্য আমাদের উদ্দেশ্য বাংলাদেশের জনগণের ভাগ্যের পরিবর্তন আমাদের লক্ষ্য আমাদের উদ্দেশ্য হচ্ছে যে বাংলাদেশকে একটি কল্যাণমুখী রাষ্ট্র হিসাবে গড়ে তুলতে চাই এই মাছের অবমুক্তকরণ এই ফ্যামিলি কার্ড কৃষক কার্ড বাচ্চাদেরকে মানুষ রূপে গড়ে তোলা সুন্দর আদর্শ নাগরিক হিসাবে গড়ে তোলা এই যে কাজগুলো ইমাম মুয়াজ্জেম সাহেবদেরকে অর্থনৈতিকভাবে সহযোগিতা করা যারা এসব কাজে বাধাগ্রস্ত করবে যারা রাজপথে বিশৃঙ্খলা তৈরি করবে যারা দেশের মানুষকে মিথ্যে কথা বলে বিভ্রান্ত তৈরি করবে তাদের বিরুদ্ধে আপনাদেরকে রুখে দাঁড়াতে হবে এখন সময় হচ্ছে কাজ করার এখন সময় হচ্ছে দেশকে সামনের দিকে এগিয়ে নিয়ে যাওয়ার আমাদেরকে সকলকে হাতে হাত রেখে কাজ শুরু করতে হবে কোন সেই কাজ রাষ্ট্র মেরামতের কাজ শুরু করতে হবে দেশ পুনর্গঠনের কাজ আমাদেরকে করতে হবে প্রিয় ভাই বোনেরা কারণ এই দেশের মালিক হচ্ছে বাংলাদেশের জনগণ এই দেশকে যদি গড়ে তুলতে হয় তাহলে বাংলাদেশের জনগণেরই সামনে এগিয়ে আসতে হবে যারা এই দেশের মানুষের স্বার্থের বিরুদ্ধে কথা বলবে যারা এই দেশের মানুষের জন্য নেওয়া বাস্তব পদক্ষেপগুলোতে বিশৃঙ্খলা তৈরি করবে তাদের ব্যাপারে আমাদেরকে সতর্ক থাকতে হবে
Local MP Jalaluddin addressed the occasion. Earlier, Prime Minister Tariq Rahman distributed fish fry among the selected fishermen and released fish fry into the Brahmaputra River at Pakundia in Kishoreganj on the occasion of National Fisheries Week 2026. Prime Minister Tariq Rahman visited the Kotiari Carp Hatchery Complex on the occasion of the National Fisheries Week 2026. The Prime Minister went around different areas of the complex and talked to the concerned people. Fisheries and Livestock Minister Muhammad Aminur Rashid, State Minister Sultan Salahuddin Tuku, State Minister for Textile and Jute Muhammad Shariful Alam, and State Minister for LGRD Mir Shahe Alam and local MPs were present during the visit. Information and Broadcasting Minister Zahiruddin Shopon said, like elsewhere in the country, efforts will be made to develop the under-construction information complex in Borishal to international standards and provide a wide range of modern technology-based information and services from there. Each information complex will have a modern cineplex. The general public will also be able to access various technology-based services from these facilities. He made the remarks at the inauguration ceremony of the construction of the Borishal Divisional Modern Information Complex organized by the Department of Mass Communication in Kashipur of Borishal City today. The minister said media professionals would benefit the most from the information complex. He added that all necessary facilities and services for journalists would be ensured and maintained there. The ceremony was presided over by Secretary of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting Mahbooba Farzana, Borishal Divisional Commissioner Khalil Ahmed, Borishal City Corporation Administrator Advocate Bilkis Akhtar Jahan Shirin, Additional Secretary of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting Muhammad Shah Alam, DIG of Borishal Range Zulfikar Ali Haidar, Director General of the Department of Mass Communication Abdul Jalil and Borishal Metropolitan Police Commissioner Abu Raihan Muhammad Saleh, among others, addressed the occasion. Officials concerned said the Borishal Division Modern Information Complex will play an important role in ensuring modern technology-based services, supporting media professionals in their work and providing accurate information to the public. State Minister for Cultural Affairs Ali Nawaz Mahmud Khayyam said the historic Zia Memorial Museum and the ancient building in Chattogram will be renovated, keeping the basic structure and features intact. He informed this to reporters after visiting the Zia Memorial Museum adjacent to the Chattogram Circuit House today. The State Minister said the Zia Memorial Museum is an ancient building. The building has recently been damaged in an earthquake. Therefore, necessary repairs and renovations will be carried out while keeping the historical and basic features of the building intact. The museum will be reopened to the public once the renovation work is completed. He said the renovation work of the Zia Memorial Museum will start within the next 1.5 months. Earlier, the State Minister visited each room of the 17 galleries on the first and second floors of the Zia Memorial Museum and observed the current condition of different parts of the building. Meanwhile, a departmental level view exchange meeting was held in Chattogram on the occasion of Nozrul Borsho to organize a cultural competition in a smooth manner with the participation of students from primary, technical and secondary schools. State Minister for Cultural Affairs Nawaz Mahmud Khayyam, who was the chief guest at the meeting, held at the local circuit house in the afternoon. He said this year has been declared Nozrul Borsho with the aim of creating a healthy and prosperous cultural environment in the country and to properly evaluate the earth and literary works of national poet Qazi Nozrul Islam. On this occasion, various literary and cultural competitions will be organized in schools, colleges, madrasas, technical educational institutions and universities throughout the year. The State Minister said in the first phase, this competition will be held with students of primary and secondary schools and technical educational institutions. Starting from the school level, the competition will be held at the Upazila district and national levels. The meeting, presided over by Divisional Commissioner Dr. Muhammad Ziauddin, was attended by MP Abu Sufyan, BNP Chairperson's Advisor Shukumul Borua, Secretaries of the concerned ministries, CMP Commissioner, Deputy Commissioners of Chattogram Division and officials of the concerned departments. The government has undertaken a program to plant 25 crore trees in 5 years to protect the balance of the environment and combat the adverse effects of climate change. A view exchange meeting organized by the district administration for the successful implementation of this program was held in Chattogram in the afternoon. State Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change Sheikh Faridul Islam was the chief guest at the meeting, held at the local circuit house. Divisional Commissioner Dr. Muhammad Ziauddin presided over, while officials from various government departments including the divisional and district administration, forest department were present in the meeting. The State Minister said along with planned tree plantation, tree care and conservation must be ensured. He emphasized on involving the general public in government initiatives to protect the environment. It was informed in the meeting that one of the goals of this program is to increase greening to protect and balance of the environment through widespread tree plantation across the country, including Chattogram. The Election Commission (EC) declared the nomination papers of Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir, the nominee of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, and Dr. Oli Ahmed Bir Bikram, candidate from the Jamaat-e-Islami-led 11-party alliance, valid in the presidential polls. At Nirbachan Bhavan in the capital today, Chief Election Commissioner A.M.M. Nasiruddin declared their nomination papers valid after verification. He informed a BNP delegation led by its Standing Committee member Dr. Abdul Moin Khan that the nomination papers of Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir have been accepted as valid. Earlier, the CEC accepted the nomination papers of 11-party alliance Oli Ahmed Bir Bikram as valid. The presidential election will be held on August 20th. The scrutiny of nomination papers began at 11 a.m. today. The two candidates submitted their nomination papers on the last day of submission on August 13th. On Thursday last, BNP submitted the nomination papers of Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir to the CEC at Nirbachan Bhavan. On the other hand, the 11-party alliance submitted its nomination papers in favor of Liberal Democratic Party (LDP) Chairman Colonel retired Oli Ahmed. EC Secretariat Senior Secretary Akhtar Ahmed said the last date for withdrawal of candidacy is 4 p.m. on August 18th. He said voting will be held in the session hall of Jatiya সংসদ from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. on August 20th. A favorable environment needs to be created for Prime Minister Tariq Rahman's visit to India. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Shahidul Karam made the remarks at a briefing at the Foreign Ministry today. He said Bangladesh will continue to follow a Bangladesh first policy in developing a friendly bilateral relations with neighboring and other countries based on sovereign equality, national dignity, non-interference in each other's internal affairs and mutual benefit. Prime Minister's Principal Secretary ABM Abdusattor said the new pay scale for government employees will be implemented with the current fiscal year. He revealed the information today while speaking to reporters at the Secretariat. Abdusattor said the government employees are usually given a new pay scale every 5 years. However, the previous government did not implement a new pay scale for 11 years. The Principal Secretary said the economy is the government's main challenge. The government will focus on creating jobs and increasing production to address the challenge, mentioning that the power and energy crisis as a global problem. He said that the government is taking several steps to resolve the crisis and hoped that the situation would improve soon. Now, international news. At least 11 people, including 2 women and 3 children, were killed in a series of Israeli airstrikes in southern Lebanon, with 19 others wounded. The Lebanese Health Ministry said 7 people were killed in an Israeli airstrike on a house in the southern Lebanese village of Ansar. 4 others were killed in separate strikes in the village of Deir al-Zahrani. The Lebanese state news agency reported that several more airstrikes were carried out across southern Lebanon, the deepest in 2 months. Meanwhile, the Iran-backed group Hezbollah said in a statement that a befitting response would be given to the attack on Lebanon. Lebanese Prime Minister Nawaf Salam strongly condemned the attack. He said those killed in the Israeli attack on the village of Ansar were not in a military installation, and that the women and children killed there were not military targets. Lebanese President Joseph Aoun called the attack a clear message against efforts to implement the ceasefire agreement. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said Tehran is continuing talks with Oman on shipping routes in the Strait of Hormuz, but warns reopening the waterway will depend on the U.S. upholding the MOU signed in June. Although there has been progress in peace talks to end the Iran war, there is no sign of reaching an agreement yet. Shipping through the strategically important waterway, the Strait of Hormuz, has also been practically paralyzed. Iran called upon the United States to accept de defeat. On the other hand, President Donald Trump called Iran very bad. He has also asked the Americans to be prepared for the fact that the price of fuel will increase further due to the war. In a post on the social media X, Iranian Deputy Foreign Minister Kazem Garibabadi said yesterday that the Strait of Hormuz would be opened and closed at the behest of Iran. Kazem also said that control of the Strait of Hormuz could not be taken with a tweet or an aircraft carrier issuing an order or giving an election speech. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said that no decision had been made to resume talks with the United States. In an interview with Iranian media outlet Raater News, Araghchi told that the US would have to accept certain conditions to resume shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, the USS George Washington has arrived in the Arabian Sea and is expected to relieve the USS Abraham Lincoln amid growing concerns over conditions on board the later carrier. Qatar denied Iran's claims that it is holding captive 3 Iranian pilots whose planes crashed in the Gulf state in the early days of the US and Israel's war. At least 72 people, including 18 children, were killed when an overloaded ferry capsized on Lake Kariba in Zimbabwe. Police said on Saturday that search teams had recovered another 26 bodies. The ferry overturned on Tuesday amid high waves. The vessel was traveling from the town of Kariba to rural and fishing communities in the country's northwest. Water transport is particularly important for residents of these areas as their roads are damaged and public transport options are limited. The exact number of passengers on board has not yet been confirmed. Authorities have also not said how many people may still be missing. Initially, officials were unable to determine how many children had been on board. Passengers who had not reached yet the age at which a ticket is required were not included in the preliminary lists. Police later released updated figures showing that 18 children were among those killed. At least 16 of them were under the age of 10, while the youngest victim of the tragedy was 1 year old.